Happy Easter. He is risen. What does it look like when a kingdom reaches its absolute peak? I mean, power, wealth, wisdom, glory, yet it already yet it is already moving toward decline. Can outward success hide inward drift? My dear friends, welcome to Under the Word, where we daily read the scriptures, not for mere information, but for formation. Today's readings brings us to First Kings chapters 4 through 7 and then Psalm 95. So we continue, yes, in the books of King during the height of Solomon's reign. These chapters present what appears to be the golden age of Israel. Paul House in the First and Second Kings New American Commentary, and Ian Proven, and also in the First and Kings uh, Understanding the Bible Commentary. They emphasize this section is intentionally written to display three things. One is that the fulfillment of God's promises to David, the visible blessing of covenant obedience, and yet subtle warning signs beneath the surface. This is glory, but it's not yet perfection. So let's jump in. Chapter 4. Solomon organizes his kingdom with precision, right? Officials are appointed, provision established, and the land experiences peace. In fact, it says Judah and Israel lived in safety. And this echoes covenant blessing from Deuteronomy. Solomon's wisdom is highlighted in this chapter. In fact, it goes on to say, God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding beyond measure. Here, the Hebrew concept for wisdom here includes actually three things. It's about practical governance, it's discernment, and also it's about intellectual breadth. And so, in fact, House, in the New American Commentary, he notes that this fulfills God's promise in chapter 3 and reflects a universal dimension. The nations are drawn to Israel's king. You see, this anticipates a greater fulfillment in Jesus Christ. The promise that we can go back to Genesis chapter 12, Genesis chapter 17, 15 even, where God talks to Abraham, through your seed, all nations will be blessed. And then we move to chapter 5. And here Solomon begins preparation to build the temple. I mean, it takes 11 years, right? He forms an alliance with Hiram, the king of Tyre. Materials are gathered. He mobilizes about 30,000 taken shifts. So like a month on and 2 months off. It's just an extended work, right? So this is cedar and this is stone and it's about labor. So my friends, this is significant. You see, Israel is transitioning from a tabernacle-centered worship to a permanent dwelling. And so, in fact, proven here from understanding the Bible commentary, he emphasizes that the temple represents God's established presence among his people in a centralized and visible form. Yet, the scale of labor also introduces tension. See, the forced labor system hints at future strain within the kingdom, and we'll come to this after Solomon passes. And then in Kings chapter 6, right? So the construction of the temple begins. Right? So the details are precise and intentional. The structure reflects theological symbolism, right? So it's about holiness, about order, it's about separation. See, the most holy place, or known as the holies of holy, is central. In fact, the Hebrew term here refers to it's about this inner sanctuary, the place of God's presence, right? God speaks during the construction. He says, if you will walk in my statutes. And this is really crucial for us to pay attention to. You see, the temple does not guarantee God's presence. Covenant obedience does. In fact, House from the New American Commentary stresses that the temple is not magical, it's about relational. You see, God's dwelling is tied to his people's faithfulness. It's not a mere ritual or religious activity, but a relational invitation. And then we move to chapter 7. So Solomon builds his own palace. But here, pay attention. But it takes significantly longer than the temple. And this detail is intentional. Right? In fact, proven from understanding the Bible commentary, notes that this contrast raises a subtle concern. Is Solomon's focus beginning to shift? The temple, man, it's amazing, isn't it? The furnishings are completed with great artistry. Oh man, it's just, yeah, I wish I could have been present to see it. Yet the narrative quietly invites evaluation. Right? The kingdom on the outside looks perfect, but the seeds of imbalance are present. And then we move to Psalm 95, which brings the theological interpretation, right? And its psalm goes on to say, "Oh, come, let us sing to the Lord." This is a call to worship grounded in God's kingship. In fact, the psalm goes on to say, "The Lord is a great God and a great king above all gods." But the tone shifts. Today, it says, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. See, the psalm recalls Israel's rebellion in the wilderness. In fact, John Goldegate, in Psalms, in volume 3, the Baker commentary on the Old Testament, Wisdom and Psalms, he explains that Psalm 95 holds together two things: joyful worship and a serious warning. You see, outward participation in worship does not equal inward faithfulness. So that's why even in Isaiah, and then Jesus quotes Isaiah, Matthew 25, where God says, "These people honor me, they worship me with their lip service, but their hearts are far away from me." And you will read this when we get to Amos chapter 5 as well, where God is like, I'm done listening to your song. Stop singing. I'm done you playing the trumpet and the flute and the harp. He said, be done away from it. Because God's saying that, like, you guys are doing these external things, but your hearts are far away from me. It's about relationship, dear friends. It's not about outward participation and worship. That does not equal inward faithfulness. God is calling us for this relationship, a worship that is from the heart and not just rote. So you see, these chapters present a powerful contrast. The readings from Kings, 1 Kings chapter 4 through 7, see, they reveal to us about the kingdom flourishes, wisdom abounds, the temple is built, God's promises appear fulfilled. And then Psalm 95. Right? So worship is commanded, but obedience is required. Hardness of heart remains a real danger, not just for them, even for us. But the unifying truth in all of this, I believe, is this, right? So external success and religious structure cannot replace true obedience to God. Let me repeat that. External success and religious structure cannot replace true obedience. In other words, true worship, true listening, true surrender to God. You see, Solomon's kingdom shines, but the warning has already been given. This points forward to the only one, the one true King, Jesus Christ, the true temple, the true King, the one who perfectly obeys the Father. He said, like, destroy this temple and in 3 days I'll raise it up. He is the perfect temple. So my dear friends, on this Resurrection Sunday, these readings cut beneath appearances, right? First, it challenges how we define success. See, prosperity and order do not equal faithfulness. Second, it confronts religious complacency. You can build a temple and still drift from God. You can come to church services and still not have intimacy with the Lord. Walk, hear his voice, walk in obedience. Third, it calls for attentive obedience. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart, is a warning. My people, God's people, let us not. Fourth, see, this is all about, it reminds us that God desires hearts, not just structures, not just lip services. Jesus did not die to make bad people. He didn't die to make immoral people moral. He died to bring dead people to life. In other words, separated people back into relationship with God. So let us not confuse outward blessing with inward faithfulness. Let us examine our hearts. Are you listening to God? Am I listening to God? Or just surrounding myself and surrounding yourself with the appearance of devotion? Let us worship him with sincerity. Let us obey him with consistency. And let us not harden our heart. God is worthy of more than structure. He is worthy of your full devotion and my full devotion. So my dear friends, as always, I want to invite us, let's continue to come back tomorrow. Let us stay alert. Let us stay responsive. And as always, let us stay under the word. He is risen. And again, thank you so much for spending part of your Resurrection Sunday with me. May God bless you. And again, if this has been helpful, I encourage you to share with others so they too can join us on this journey of reading the Bible in a year as we remain under the word. Be blessed.